Welcome everybody to Tuesday Live at 5 at Pharus Global. My name is Brian Hartman, and today we are going to be finding out how a commercial plumber creates customers for life. Yes, can you believe that? Even a commercial plumber can create customers for life with a lot of different things that him and his company will be doing. We are live here at Pharus Global, 1859 Southeast Port St. Lucie Boulevard. We're happy that you can all join us today. As we get into the program, if you have any questions at all, feel free to post them in the comments, whether you're seeing this live on LinkedIn or Facebook or on YouTube. Pharus Global is an ecosystem of businesses combined, put together to be able to help second stage companies typically. We work from the cradle all the way to the exit, and you can find us at pharusglobal.com, and we are happy to help you. A little bit of a tongue twister there. So today I'd like to introduce the man of the hour, the Miz, the master of disaster, Mr. Ben Drew. And let's give a warm welcome to Benjamin Drew. Boom, boom, boom. There you are.
How are you doing? Brian, thank you for having me. This is great.
Yeah, we're glad to finally get you on. It's been a long time coming.
Yes, sir.
So I'm guessing rain is probably creating some business for you these days, huh?
So, rain is a good thing, just like the song says. But, you got to kind of have mixed feelings about it, because our plumbing service is we offer a wide range of services. So, anywhere from new construction all the way down to, septic and drain field and, lift stations and stuff like that. So when it rains, one section of the business is good, and then, slows down new construction a little bit. So, so a lot of rain is good for one side. New construction slows down a little bit. We find that happy medium sometimes. But I mean, it all works out in the end.
That's the euphoria section.
Yeah.
You find the happy balance, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So the name of the company, Benjamin Drew's Plumbing and Septic, right?
Benjamin Drew's Plumbing and Drain Services, with a DBA of Benjamin Drew's Plumbing and Septic. Septic is something we added after we were open a few years and saw the opportunity of where other companies were lacking. So, we wanted to fill that void and just try to offer it just pretty much be a full service plumbing company, as it boils down to.
That's awesome. I know everybody's excited to hear how you create customers for life, but tell us about yourself and your business. When did everything begin?
My name is Benjamin Drew. My full name is Benjamin Drew Jimenez. So I picked it. It was easier to fit Benjamin Drew on the side of a truck as opposed to Benjamin Jimenez Plumbing. It just sounded a lot better, I thought. We've been in business going on 7 years now. Very excited about that we're able to, even in these strange times, to be able to navigate through 2020 and still be here. And I think a lot of that has to do with how we try and create customers for life. One thing that we know is lacking in the field is that attitude or that atmosphere of creating a customer for life, and that's what we strive to do. And like I said, throughout the years, we've just started adding more and more services that we offer in the plumbing field, and a couple services that are in the non-plumbing field that we do offer under the plumbing business because we have the equipment to do it. But so full service plumbing company is what you get.
So did it start out that way? Were you always in
the field? Yeah, that's a funny story because really the idea in my head, it went a little bit different. So the idea in my head was, I had the license and I said, okay, well, I'm just going to be a one-man show, do service calls. I think I did that for 6 months maybe. Was doing really good. I was really happy with it. I was I'd do a couple water heaters during the day. I was home by 1:30. Took a nap, ate lunch. And some of the guys that worked for me in the past when I worked at other plumbing companies just kind of came over and said, "Hey, we heard you started, this, or we knew you started this," and there was a builder that I grew up with in the trade, that's been around for a very long time, and I literally grew up with these guys that are now running these companies, and they found out that I had a plumbing company, and they're like, "Hey, why don't you give us some numbers or whatever, so on and so forth." And it, to be honest with you, within a couple of years, it kind of just got out of control. And I had, people. I got my brother working for me now, Jason. He does a fantastic job, and all the guys pretty much that work for me, down to Roy and Mike and Nick, the sound group of guys that I got now, I would put up against anybody. And those, these are guys that I just, that I've worked, that have done work for me, or I've worked with in the past. So, kind of created a very good atmosphere. And here we are today. We're 7 years into it now, and like I said, very fortunate to be navigating 2020 the way we are.
Is the 7-year itch happening in business too, or is that only in marriage?
I think it's marriage.
I had to figure that one out. So, quick shout out. Say hi to Louis DiRamondo. He actually is the hot dog king. I don't know if you ever seen all these fancy hot dog carts out there, but he's the expert at that. Awesome. So before we continue, just to remind everybody, if you have any questions for Ben, the Miz, the master of commercial plumbing, drop them in the comments, and we will be happy to get some of those questions answered for you guys. So just let us know. So you talked a little bit about the services that you're offering. What does that look like? Like what are your top, say, 3 services that you do on a regular basis?
So I think in commercial real estate, I think the number one service that we offer is that we do a lot of is, the first one would be the lift station maintenances and repairs or replacements of lift station pumps. A lot of commercial real estates have them. Some are municipality owned and taken care of, but not as many as you think. I know Port St. Lucie, the city of Port St. Lucie, they pretty much maintain their own, and they have their own people that do it. But outside of the incorporated areas, we do a lot of maintenances. And the other thing that we do a lot of is a lot of grease trap maintenances for restaurants and stuff like that. So that is pretty much our main day-to-day services that we run into with commercial properties. We do quite a bit of changeovers from tenant swap outs and stuff like that. Want to move around bathroom groups and stuff like that, and certain code violations of commercial bathrooms, ADA bathrooms and stuff like that. So that's pretty much the realm of commercial that we've dabbled in. Just recently though, believe it or not, there's quite a bit of commercial real estate that is still under a septic and drain fill. So people have been calling quite a bit about that due to the amount of rain that we have gotten.
Gotcha.
We do offer a service in the commercial real estate of a tenant change out, and sometimes stuff is left behind. I think a couple months ago we removed a cooler that was inside
right
the building that somebody wanted out. So it's not in the realm of plumbing, but it's a service we offer. We can do some tenant change out stuff and clean up the place a little bit.
Awesome. Another shout out, Kim Casey, the Merchant Services Queen. So we got the Hot Dog King and the Merchant Services Queen out there. Welcome to the show. And Vicky Morehart, thank you for sharing this live video as we are doing it. Any questions, you guys? Drop them in the comments. One of the things that I find interesting as doing commercial lending for so many years is hazards, potential hazards, environmental issues, things like that. What are some of the potential hazards and some of the things you look for when doing a plumbing inspection on commercial property?
So I think one of there's a frequent call that we get, and it has to do with usually when someone takes over a building and they do some remodeling and stuff like that, that they end up covering up drains that have that are there or that are still active and not deleted correctly. So when they cover those up and maybe put a vinyl stick floor on and stuff like that, we ran into an issue one time that there was it was an ice cream shop and there was a hair salon that had recently went in there, and they just basically threw the laminated floor over the drain that was there. Ended up with a sewer gas smell. Now sewer gas smells are really, really tough to find. I mean, you can smell them obviously, but I mean, they can be coming from anywhere, so to be able to do, the ability to do a smoke test or something like that to find that. And then we noticed that there was, with the smoke test we did, we noticed that there was a couple locations where the smoke came out that they just went over it. So in that floor drain, there's a P-trap that if it doesn't get constant access to water or whatever, it just dry out, and now it's wide open to the sanitary. So I think that's probably one of the most common ones, and that, and not having your sewer lines cambered or inspected prior to even a commercial real estate business person buying a place as an investment of their own should have a thorough inspection of the entire property, and just to make sure these drains and stuff that are okay. Because far too many times we get calls saying, "Oh, I just bought the place and I have all these sewer issues and stuff like that." Well, did you have a camera inspection done prior to you buying this? Well, we had an inspection done. Well, did they run a camera though? Most of the time that's not done, and you can eliminate a lot of problems before you rent a place out by having a plumber, having a licensed plumber do a thorough inspection before they rent that out. So that way it's just a smooth transaction.
So is that something that they should do, like as an owner of a commercial property? How often should you have all of that checked out?
I mean, to be honest with you, it would be I would actually have. We have a commercial property that we manage now, that every time that there is a change of tenant, we go in there and do a thorough inspection, and we just make sure all the toilets are okay, everything was working, and they're prior to the last inspection we did. Any changes or upgrades that are needed at that time, we just go ahead and take care of that then.
Right.
We also communicate with the future tenant if the owner lets us, and maybe get an idea of what that space is going to be used for, and maybe head off any concerns or maybe do anything that logistically needs to be done before they move in, and so they don't try to do it themselves. So sometimes we end up with tenants that have tried to add an ice machine or add something themselves, and it didn't, and it ends up flooding out next door or something like that. And then that's something we can kind of control if we're a part of that process. And then we've been really successful at it, communicating with the owners, and our owners are property managers, and the new tenants taking place, to kind of get an idea of what they want, and just make it happen and make it safe for them, all while coordinating with the owner of the property, or the property manager, of course.
I'm still thinking about the smoke test. So
all right, so that's a really actually a fun. they make these machines that they're either gas or electric, and we have both. And it's basically like, actually we've made them before, before we before we actually bought one. They can be done really simple with a bucket and a fan that blows down into the sewer system, and you actually really buy a smoke bomb that you would buy at the store, at like the fireworks store or something, and you would just force that air in, and you would force that air in there. Now it's not a forced air. You're just using the fan or whatever to kind of navigate through the lines, and it'll eventually go out to the stack. With the machines we got, they make a liquid smoke that you pour in, and then it's adjustable. We've actually had the fire department called on us before because we've used the smoke machine, and people see it coming out the vent, and they're like, oh, the house is on fire, and the fire department on us. No, we're just doing a smoke test. Yeah,
that's funny.
Yeah.
So, I know that you talked briefly about grease traps. So, do you actually do the installation and maintenance for those?
Absolutely. We it's not a real. We do a lot of maintenances. If we've probably put 6 or 7 grease traps in this year. It's just kind of that thing. It's not as common as septics. Most of the time, people are buying a place for a restaurant that's probably already equipped for a restaurant, and it's probably already got one. Right. And we either have to clean it up, do an inspection on it, do a maintenance on it, and then let everybody know that yes, you can use it. But then also on the flip side of that, certain municipalities have different rules. So if like for instance, we're doing one in Fort Pierce coming up where the grease trap's been in the ground for a while, and the municipality told them they needed to upgrade the system to the current code. So we would be tearing that one out and putting a new one in based off of new code.
I bet you probably have seen some grease traps that made you think twice about eating at a particular.
There was one that we seen that was actually made of block, and I haven't seen one of those ever. I've seen most of them are concrete, fully concreted and coated in epoxy. I have seen grease septic tanks made out of actual block. But this one was in Hope Sound, and this grease trap was really, really old, and it was a grease trap that was covered up, so you didn't know it was there. And they ended up having a parking lot kind of cave in on them. And once they discovered that, in fact, it wasn't a sinkhole; it was actually the grease trap that was underneath there. It was made of block, so that took a little bit of extra effort to make that one correct. But it's not so much tearing out the grease trap. It's actually what you find in there, and you question yourself, like how did that even make it through the plumbing system and get into the grease trap? So
yeah, that's probably a scary thought in and of itself.
Yes, sir.
So 7 years in the making. So tell me about what's the wildest story you've had on the job.
Let's see. Well, we had as far as stories, most of them actually really come from servicing inside people's homes. I've heard guys go into homes and go into a stoppage and trying to figure out what's causing the stoppages and stuff like that, and then come to find out someone's lost their dentures or something in the toilet, or how do you not know that you're missing your teeth? I mean, it's just one of those, it's just one of those things. And then getting someone's pet, finding out that someone's pet fell into their septic tank because their lid wasn't on correctly, or their lid was cracked, they didn't know about it. Or even I think one of the weirdest ones, it was someone's car actually drove over the septic tank. They parked their car in the front yard, and when they came out the next morning, the front of their car was down into the septic tank. And and they called us, of course, to try to figure out how to get that out. And then, of course, we didn't turn the call down because we just wanted to see it. And so it was like a class trip, and we all went over there to take a look at it, and just to try to come up with a way to get the car out. And we ended up calling the wrecker, and the wrecker came and pulled them out. So, and then we had to get it built for them.
The teaching case, right? It was all, yeah.
So I mean, that's pretty much it. As far as since I've been in business, you know what I mean? I mean, there's been some other stories that I've heard, some guys, you know what I mean, working in the attics and stuff like that, and rat running across their chest or something like that. You know what I mean? That's more common, than it really seems. You know what I mean? No one ever really knows they have a rat in their attic or underneath their home until it dies. You know what I mean? So you might hear something up there and just passively make it, think that it's something or it's the wind, but until an animal or someone dies up in the attic or dies in the underneath the crawl space or something like that, you don't know you have those, those creatures, until you have to go over there and service them, whether it be a plumber or the cable guy or someone in your attic doing an inspection,
Yeah, absolutely. So maintenance plans. Do you guys do you have maintenance plans?
So for grease traps, absolutely. Lift stations as well. Septics is something we're working on. That not a lot of people are doing septic maintenance plans, and it's something that me and a couple of other managers are trying to work out and kind of brainstorm on. Grease traps are something that it really depends on what kind of restaurant is in there. Some restaurants are quarterly maintenances, some are monthly maintenances.
Right.
Same thing with lift stations. That's kind of hit or miss too. So, lift station maintenances are either going to be quarterly or every 6 months. We do some nursing homes that we do weekly drive-bys. To see how much is being built up inside, and then we make that determination. But it ultimately turns into the higher volume stuff, nursing homes, grocery stores, and stuff like that is going, and as far as lift stations goes, going to be a monthly maintenance. Some of the mediocre stuff, the stuff for instance, like a bank or something like that, is probably going to be a quarterly maintenance. And basically, what we're looking for in those maintenances is, of course, besides what's going into the lift station that shouldn't be in there, we're checking ohms for the pumps. We're checking the amps. We're checking for making sure that the pumps are alternating use and stuff like that. So. What we're striving to do. We're not. Don't get me wrong. We love the money quarterly. We love the money every single month. But what we're trying to do is prevent a pump from going out, or even worse, both going out. And because those lift station pumps can be very expensive. Right. And the same thing on the flip side to the grease traps. There's not a lot to a grease trap. But if it's not maintained per the recommendations of whatever company you have go out there, whether it be monthly or quarterly, the ultimate sacrifice is when you back up. What's it going to take to get that grease trap clean and functioning again, working correctly? So something that could have been taken care of under your preventative maintenance now turns into a high ticket item that of course we love, but for how we create customers for life is we give them the option pretty much to choose for themselves. Like, listen, this is what needs to be done. This helps you in the long run. Yes, you're paying quarterly, but when you call me in a year, 18 months, and you have a high ticket item, because because the municipality came and checked your grease trap, and now you have to have this done. This is how much it's going to cost, and we could have maybe saved you a little bit of money over time.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. So that's how you create customers by life, by saving them money.
We try to save them as much money as possible, and we understand that plumbers in general are not, well, pretty much any trade, that is in the service industry, whether it be AC and refrigeration or electrician. At the end of the day, you know what I mean. The ultimate goal is to create a customer for life, as opposed to hitting them one time with a high ticket and never hearing from them again because they thought you were too high to begin with. Or we can create a customer for life that continues to come back to us with their problems because, one, they feel comfortable with us. Two, we're giving them an option to service the problem correctly. And three, we're not in the business to get rich off of one customer. It's just one, we got to live in the towns we service. Yep. And I would rather see you at Walmart and say hi to me than talk behind my back, or even worse, leave me a bad review on social media or something like that. That just irks me when someone does that. It means I didn't do my job, my tech didn't do their job, they weren't trained correctly, and it's something that we strive to do is to keep a high rating, whether it be on the internet or in life in general.
No, you're absolutely right. It's a good way to look at it. So I know that 2020 has been an absolutely crazy year. 2021, talk about any upcoming commercial plumbing issues that you can foresee.
So I think that the problem with 2020 is that everybody is watching their every dollar and trying to figure out where this market's going to go and try to figure out, what are the best options. Obviously, some restaurants and stuff have been shut down here in 2020. So, a lot of maintenances weren't required. Maybe some of these restaurants just decided to close up maybe for the rest of the year, and maybe try to reopen 2021. Nothing gets better over time when it comes to maintenances. So, if you've cut some things out of your budget to try and make it through 2021, no one understands it more than me. And just know that in 2021 that these things are going to have to be addressed, and it's something, to be honest with you, it's going to save you money in the long run if we make sure that, even if it's not a restaurant, anything commercial wise, anything home wise is functioning correctly in 2021. Let's plan for it. Let's budget for it, and let's get you taken care of.
No, that's great advice. So basically, if you procrastinated in 2020, it's time to pick up where you left off in 2021.
And for a lot of people, for a lot of businesses and a lot of people and a lot of folks, I pray 2021 is the year for a comeback and just try to get back to some sort of normality.
If there is such a thing, right?
We might be seeing the new normal, but I hope not.
All right. So anything else you could think of that we haven't touched on today? Any other things you would like to let everybody know about?
Well, I think for the most part, we are just to let everybody know, we are a full service plumbing company that offers a wide range of services. Even one thing we didn't touch on that a lot of commercial properties have is backflow prevention. They have a backflow preventer that has to get tested once a year. We do offer that service. If there's any question probably about any services that we offer, even maintaining of storm drains, stuff like that, that's definitely stuff that we can handle. And I think for the most part, it doesn't hurt to pick up the phone. My email is on there too. Feel free to drop an email if you have any questions.
What's the best way for them to schedule an appointment with you?
Either way by email, even though that says my email, and I bounce around between the field and in the office and stuff like that. My email is monitored by a couple people. So if there is if there's an issue or you have a question, the girls in the office, fabulous women, Lacey Carter, my wife Angie, great people. They will not let anything slide. They will bug me until they get the answer that they want, and they're pretty responsive. Also, if you call the phone number there, we will, we pretty much answer the phone. We are not a 24-hour service company, but that phone after hours rings to my cell phone, and if it is a dire emergency, I will get someone out there, if not myself, and we'll get you taken care of.
And they could also get good information at the website as well, right?
Yeah, we do have a form to fill out. We're always posting stuff on social media, and we do have the website that's very informative. But you know what? The best information that you could get is by picking up the phone and calling and requesting a callback. We also do virtual inspections. We can do that via Skype, via FaceTime. However you want to do it, and we can go over your issues that way too. And if people are practicing social distancing, then we're not no one to judge. We will practice social distancing regardless. Part of the CDC guidelines, and all of our guys that have been doing that since we were told to do it. We have been getting a lot of calls for virtual estimates or virtual inspections. And although, most of the time it works out good, but just keep in mind, most of the time, sometimes we're probably going to have to make a site visit for some of the bigger stuff.
Got it. Awesome. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us tonight. This is Ben Jimenez. You can reach him at benjamindrewsplumbing.com, 772-877-2962. Mr. Benjamin Drew Jimenez, thank you very much for joining us tonight. We really appreciate it.
I appreciate the time, and Brian, I appreciate you and everything you've done for us. And let's keep it going. Let's finish the year strong, and we'll walk into 2021 hopefully with a better view.
Yeah, absolutely. Next week, everybody, Benny Spencieri from Crest Corp, Commercial Real Estate Services, will be joining us to talk some commercial real estate shops, so be on the lookout. And also, if you'd like to be like Mr. Benjamin Drew right here and be on our show, reach out to us. You can reach me at brian@pharusfunding.com or go to our website at pharusglobal.com. We're trying to showcase as many businesses as possible and get the word out, so this way we can keep some businesses going. And appreciate you again, Ben. Good to have you. And
yes, sir. Thank you for having me. All right, you guys take care.
And we'll talk to you soon.
Yes, sir.